For more Making India, let's talk with Professor Liu Baocheng again. He's the Dean of Center for International Business Ethics at University of International Business Economics. And our very own Vikram, he's our news editor here, and nice to have you in our studio. Vikram, let's talk to you first, because you're from India. What's your understanding of this push, and what specific sectors do you think India should focus at this Making India strategy?
Well, after the Modi government had come in 2014, they started off this initiative called the Make in India program. This whole Make in India week in Mumbai is just an impetus to this whole program that they had actually initiative that they had started off. The primary sector that they're planning to focus on is manufacturing, because if you see the manufacturing percentage, the share of the GDP in India is only about 16%. They
16%?
They want to increase it to 22% by 2022. So the focus obviously is on 25 sectors: aviation, defense production, railways, highways, ports. There is a lot of scope for growth in India, and that's probably what they're targeting, and that's why they're organizing. They're trying to create this buzz around this whole Make in India campaign that they had started off, and it's been going on well, because you have companies like companies from Germany, South Korea, China. In fact, Dalian Wanda has just planned to invest about $10 billion in the next 5 years.
Ooh.
So it's actually working slowly, but there are several other challenges.
Right, so we'll talk about challenges later on. Professor, for an economy at the size of India, it needs to depend on manufacturing, right? It couldn't depend on tourism or other small things for a small economy. So it's a bit late for India to come to this stage to realize that manufacturing is so important. But this country does have some advantages, like a young labor force and a vast economy to consume products, right?
Well, that's a very interesting comparison with China, because China is moving very spearheadedly into more of the service sector as the mainstream.
Exactly.
And we are so proud that when service sector overshadows the manufacturing base, but now India, already with service sector taking 55% of the GDP, and now they are shifting more into the Making India. But I think you're right, because for such a big country with massive population, you cannot skip industrialization and frog leap into the service-led type of economic growth, because I think a lot of legendary was created. Well, India could be the first example to frog leap, but I do not think so. I think the President Modi has very practical, and he had experience in managing the industrialization. And now also when China presents a ready example, and so therefore the international climate and neighboring relationship all really give a good chance for India to move into the manufacturing sector.
Vikram, tell us more about the challenges you earlier mentioned. We know everybody is talk about the land problem in India, that private families are reluctant to give up land for the government to build a railroad and many other infrastructures. Tell us about that.
Well, it's always been difficult to do business in India. That's because of different political equations over there. Now we have a government which has come with majority, and with Modi as a person who's keen on doing business, and he means business when he actually, he's talking to different countries, trying
Does
to
that mean most people support him and develop economic stuff?
Oh yes, that definitely was the agenda when he was, which he had won on.
And does that mean people are willing to contribute themselves?
Oh yes, indeed, they are willing for changes, because and that's how the challenges obviously that the government is facing is red tapeism. The government is trying to reduce red tapeism as much as they can. The whole bureaucratic issues that you hear in India, infrastructure, as I was telling, it's definitely bad. You've got world's oldest, one of the oldest railway systems that definitely needs a lot of upgrade.
Arabian?
The railway systems.
The railway systems.
Yeah, and problems like taxation. You still have the GST bill, the Goods and Services Tax bill, where that needs to be passed in the Parliament. where he needs to get the kind of political atmosphere to ensure that the bill is passed. So it's more easy for investors to come and invest in. As these are certain challenges that they're still facing, but I think the climate is slowly improving for now.
What do you think, Professor? Would you encourage Chinese investors to invest in that country? Vikram mentioned Dalai-Wanda. We saw in that video that some telecom companies like Huawei are already present there. What do you think?
Well, in a nutshell, it's a matter of efficiency, both at the government level and also at the business level. And right now, the Chinese investors they are happy to grab this opportunity because of the One Belt, One Road initiative. However, the complaint is again, the red tape that really hinders the efficiency for the economic factors to move around, be it capital, be it human resource. So unless they really are seriously cutting the red tape, so the investors' initiative will be dampened. And the other issue is really the infrastructure. So everywhere you see in China, these are really the precondition for industrialization and made in that country. And with the railway, with the telecommunication, it's really dragging the feet for all the investors, both at home and abroad. And I asked the taxi driver, how do they see China? He said, well, I've never been to China, but I saw from the TV there are a lot of neon lights in every city of China, so we could have more neon lights at home. So the culture is there. So people are getting more and more mobilized towards economic development. They are not really laying off, but also with the young population, if they are given the right training, and they can really make a lot of changes for the Indian economic growth. But right now, I do not really see a very effective measure for the skill training for those young population.
Yeah, definitely. India is, after all, a very fascinating country. We'd like to visit someday, and the very fact that Vikram is with us, so India is already quite open.
You should be visiting India anytime.
Sure. Thanks.
It's high time you should
Thank you very much, gentlemen, to join us in the studio.